walk, sit down. It's like you're getting ready for the interview. And 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. And just one more time, just because.
Do you want me to look over there?
Yeah, you can.
My name is Joshua Williams. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Miami Beach, Florida, born and raised. I'm currently a junior, rising junior at NYU, studying finance at their business school. And I've always had a love and affinity for business, entrepreneurship, and giving back. And I've combined that by creating Joshua's Heart in a way. So that's who I am. I'm pretty much a normal kid. I like to run around, talk to girls, hang out with my friends, whatever. But on the side, I have a really big passion for giving back, and whether it's for-profit or not-for-profits, starting a business, running something that you build up from the ground. So growing up, I was growing around all my aunts, my family, my mom, at a single mom family, I guess, that's how you say it. And they're Jamaicans, and I guess that's a culture behind my family, and some of the things that they may believe in is because of that. But we had a very strong family bond. It was strongly about being together, connecting with each other, and on top of that, we had a very religious family, and my family's still very religious. But along with that came that philanthropy and giving back, that service mindset. I learned a lot from them. They taught me a lot. My family are also entrepreneurs, and especially where I lived, there was never a man in the household as well. It was always a bunch of strong, independent women who happened to also run a business together. And I think that's a very interesting combination, to be honest. And I saw a lot of strength, a lot of security there, a lot of love, a lot of power, a lot of motivation, inspiration from them. Seeing my aunts, my mom, her family, my grandma, her journey, my grandmother's journey from Jamaica to coming over to immigrating here, working, providing a lot for my mom and my aunts that they never had in Jamaica, and then them being able to give it to me. I have always felt that I had to fully use everything they've given me to the full capabilities. But growing up with that close family has allowed me to develop in a certain way, I think. Especially as I get older, it's easier to look back and see how that's changed you, how that's affected you. But understanding that the family is who you look to, that's where I learned my morals, my what I believe in, and that's the first place you learn them. And as you get older, you have school, you have other people, you have books, whatever it may be, and that's where you develop more as a person. But those core things that I believe, those core things that I want really come from my family. And I think one of the core things that I believe in is I've never wanted to work for somebody. I've always looked at working for myself as something that to be achieved, to be desired. And I think that's a part of the reason why it was so natural for me to start Joshua's Heart and anything else that I've done. I see owning something that you own yourself as something very prideful in a way. And it's very instinctive in me, I guess, where sometimes I don't even notice it. But if I really think about it, I think maybe one of the reasons that is because of my family. So Joshua's Heart is a 501c3 that I started 15 years ago, and its main thing is incorporating youth and creating youth change makers to do active, direct impact in our community. And that sounds like a bunch of words, but basically what we do is give out food to people in our community and inspire people to make a change. You're welcome.
And here you are.
So Joshua's Heart in the past 15 years, we've given about 2.25 million pounds of food, I think. We've raised probably close to 1.5 million right now. We've helped people in almost every continent, from Jamaica, South America, Nigeria, Philippines, India, Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, wherever. We've done a lot of work internationally as well, but we do a lot of work in our communities in the US as well and in South Florida. And we've helped over 400,000 individuals, as well as, we've had access to over 50,000 youth volunteers. And I'm spitting out a lot of numbers here, but they're important, especially when you talk to things, is to figure out the impact that you're having. And while we want more impact, but we're very efficient in what we do, especially per price point, per person that we're helping, we're very, very efficient. There's a lot more that we need to do. Joshua Hart's catalyst, or what we started with and what inspired me first, was a homeless man that I saw on the side of the street. And I was 4.5 at the time. My grandmother gave me $20 to do whatever I wanted with, go to Toys R Us, whatever, buy candy. And I remember the intersection, and we used to go to Words of Life, this church in Miami, and what happened is we stopped at the intersection. I was in the back left seat, and my mom was driving. I look out my window, and there's a man with a sign that said, "Need food, lost my job." And I asked my mom, like, why does he need food? Why is he on the street? And she said, he's homeless. He's living on the street. He's trying to survive day to day. And it confused me almost. It was a very, what is that? What's going on there? And I wanted to help him. I ended up giving him the $20. I remember the light turned green right when I was about to give it to him, and we started pulling away, and I had to drop it, and I saw him pick it up, and I was happy. And again, at the time, for example, now I'm not comfortable giving people who are homeless money directly for various reasons. But at the time, I'm 4.5. I don't know about that dangerous world, etc. And I highlight that because it was a very instinctive part of me that I just wanted to help. I wanted to do something for somebody else. And I think we all have that, is that empathy, since we're human, to help each other. And that's how it started. It was that, I would say it's a catalyst for me, is being aware and realizing that there's people out there who don't have what I had. So my mom, first of all, her raising style, I guess, in a way, how she raised me was very, I would tell you what I've learned, but you can go and experience it for yourself. And when you, for example, if I, just hypothetically, if I saw a stove and I was playing with it and it was on, it's hot, she would be like, Josh, it's hot, the consequences, but she would let me do it. And that sounds maybe a little twisted, but she would let me fail in a way, and she would allow me failure. Even if she knows that it's wrong, she would let me learn from the mistake. And I believe that is that the lessons that I've learned the most from are the ones that actually occur to me. Not just, when you hear people give you advice, you hear it and you listen to it, but sometimes it's harder to actually fully realize it and make it self-evident in a way, and to understand that that's a lesson to be learned. My mom would, when I was 9, 10, 11, and that's very young at that age especially, I would have to go to networking conferences for Joshua's Heart. I mean, I'm 9, 10, 11. What am I talking about at that age? And it was a very, that's the other thing that we'll get into later, I think, is Joshua's Heart nurtured me and gave me a lot of skills that I think at that age most kids don't have, to be honest. And that's something that I want to provide to other kids as well as I got older, is actually engaging those youth and giving them these skills early. I think it's really important. I grew up and was molded by it. So for me, I think that what's very important for a child is attention, is having that time spent with them. And if one parent can do it, it's enough. Usually, you need 2 parents. And I think, for me personally, I think that's irregardless of gender or anything. I think as long as you have enough time spent with the kid is able to grow and learn. That's why sometimes, if you have a single mom with 7 kids, it's very hard for the mom to be able to spend time with each kid. And it's just a reality, and it sucks. But, if you have a parent, a mother, for 2 mothers of two guys, for example, if they're able to spend time with the kid enough, or the children, I think that's huge on who they develop to be as a person. And it doesn't mean they're going to be, wildly successful, etc., but they're, as a person, are going to be much more grounded and secure. But another thing that she implemented in me was reading a lot, and learning in general, just learning in general, but reading specifically. Is I've always had a very deep love for reading, because she would read to me. I would be forced to read almost, to the point where it was habitual. I would bring a book. When I was younger, I had a big afro, huge hair, and I cut it recently, maybe a year and a half ago, not even. And I didn't cut my hair for, I maybe trimmed it, didn't cut my hair for a good 8 years, maybe more. And I had a huge afro. And if you see pictures of me back when I was younger or whatever, I had a big set of hair, but I would have to wash my hair. My grandma or my mom would do it, sometimes my aunts, and in the process, it takes hours really, because you have to comb it out, shampoo, all that. But if I was in the shower, I would bring a book in a plastic bag and read it. And it was just something I wanted to do. It's not that technology at the time was also, a couple years ago, honestly, I didn't have iPads, iPhones like that. But I wanted to read, I wanted something to do. And even though you may not, especially at that age, actively know you're learning or whatever the means is, you're reading. And I think it was that love for reading that as I got older, I started reading other things, whether it's autobiographies or historical novels or whatever the heck I'm reading. I have a love for learning. And I think reading inspired that. So I think a big issue when I was younger have been the age gap in a way, and me working with adults and not being taken seriously. And I see that as it's a reality. I mean, I have a lot more ideas at the time rather than execution, and there is both validity in it and things that are wrong with it. Where if I'm presenting an idea where I'm asking for help and my ideas are thrown to the side, however, if I'm going to pitch something and I don't have a full way to execute it, sometimes you blame it based on my age, sometimes I don't. The thing with me is that I'm too stubborn with it, where no matter what, I'm gonna find a way to get what I want. And that's still a reality for me still, is that I feel driven, even if there's obstacles. And here's the thing, there are, and it's a fact, is that black men, for example, there are obstacles. There are people who don't take you as seriously, who look at you in a different way. However, to be honest, I think it's almost a bad idea to frame everything in that manner. It can kind of blame things in other ways. And I think having the idea and the mindset to overcome any problem, no matter what, to figure out the best way to push all that aside is honestly the best way to look at it. So the biggest thing for me in terms of moving forward as a community is education is a huge thing, and the mindset of what do we want as individuals, what do we aim for as a majority, what values are we instilling. I mean, it's a very tricky situation, but if you look at immigrants, even black African immigrants versus black people who've been in America for years, you can see that sometimes there are a change in culture and goals and what they want. And again, I think there's external reasons why that have been adopted internally then over time. But I think realigning and giving resources of education and mentorship goals to kids who are impoverished of all races, maybe more black Americans especially, but all races, is something that Joshua Hart has been doing as well. If you want to look at it in a money manner, right? America is the biggest, most successful country ever, right? And for us to continue our development, for us to grow more as a country, for us to become better and stay number one, we have to engage all of our constituents, all of our people, and we have to give them as many opportunities as we can. We have to provide as much education, as much resources, and invest in them. And this is not to say that there's other priorities as well, but investing in these people of all backgrounds will in any way increase the economic prosperity of everybody in the U.S. And if you want to put it in that manner simply, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be helping people in certain areas without ethical or moral obligation. Strictly money, we can create so much wealth for everybody. I don't have all the answers. That's the other thing to understand, is that I don't know everything, and and that's important. And the important thing is there's people who know more than me, and there's a discourse that needs to happen, and being available. I think a lot of people are afraid to be wrong, or they want to prove that they're right, and it kind of warps the truth or what the best outcome is. And so I think just being kind in a way, but here's the thing, you can be as kind as you want, but you have to be realistic and understand that there are evils out there. There's human nature, people do bad stuff. But we have to understand that looking for the benefit of all of us and to be as kind as to each other really would help all of us more than anything else.